Hey, Bellogan here. In today's video we are going to look at doing bounties and talk about strategies for completing these efficiently and effectively and, well, just getting them done and out of the way. You might want to ask, why are we doing bounties? Well, there's a couple reasons why. There is some triumphs and some name colors associated with getting them complete. And if you are a completionist and like those cosmetic items, that's a great reason to do bounties. You also get Dark Arena tokens from doing them, so if you want to participate in the Dark Arena, that's a good way to get in there for some good experience, which from my experience typically is pretty good experience up to about level 75. Once you get to Mercury, it's kind of a toss-up whether or not it's better than not. So there's a couple tools that make doing bounties easy for you, and if you're going to do a lot, I would highly recommend picking up the Bounty Tracker bike from Borgen. It's only 400 AC, and it will save you a lot of time using the Bounty Tracker bike. If you don't have it, and I'm going to do a bounty on a hero that doesn't, there is an item you can pick up called a tracking beacon. This is normally 25 AC at the map booster shop. I would not recommend buying these though with your ancient coins. They're better spent other places, but you will pick them up occasionally from chests where they are useful to use. Let's go ahead and pop this guy on here. This is a hero that I don't typically play. This was my hard mode deathless hero, but we're going to use him just to demonstrate a bounty today. He's using all clan gear. Normally when I'm doing bounties with my main hero, because he's the one I'm trying to get the 1,000 bounties with for Triumph, this is typically my setup. I use the Trapper Rifle just because if I'm out clearing areas and I run into sacred pets, I want to be able to kill them rather than being stuck hitting them for a long time before you realize what you're fighting and have to change your gear or run away. And with this at level 99, it's got a 208 attack power. For any area where I'm doing bounties, that is plenty, no issue. And then I use the rest of my typical Slayer Godly set. This hero, we're just going to stick with the gear that we're on. I would ride the bounty bike if I had it with this hero. I don't, so we are using that item. Now, I will note here, whether or not you want to use the tracking beacon is going to depend a little bit on what kind of bounty you're doing and how you think you're going to complete it. So let's come look at our types of bounties. The actual number that you have to kill goes up as your card ranks increase until eventually you hit a cap, which is where I'm at. So I've got 50 kills in 30 minutes for your top tier bounties. Then you've got the 75 kill in 1 hour tier. And then you've got 100 kill in 2 hour tiers. And then you've got your 1 year tiers. Typically, I will try to do all my 50 kills, except for with the rare exception, there's a couple of these that are very rare spawns that just aren't honestly worth it. I like to be able to get my bounties done if it's this first tier in 30 minutes in about 5 minutes or less if I can. 75 kills are going to take a little bit longer, but depending on the zone and where you're at, you may be able to get through all of these without having to resort to clearing an area over and over again, but sometimes you will have to do that. So I'm going to accept this one here for an Argus Beast, and it's 50 kills in 30 minutes, so we will accept that. And I like this one because any of the bounties that are on Earth, you've got your secret area. See, this is on Earth. You've got your secret area at the Acropolis where you can try to find these guys. So to get to the Acropolis, if this doesn't show up in patrol, you can always say go to cards and go patrol. Let's pick a lucky day. And I can just start looking around. And what the Bounty Hunter bike and the tracking beacon does is it turns these names yellow. So that makes it very easy to see without having to read and scan over the list. If you don't have it, you've got to look over every mob and see, is this the one that I want? Unless you're just clearing areas. So here I can clear this guy, look around, look for your next one. And depending on how rare the monster is, the beasts aren't super duper common, but they're frequent enough, we're probably going to see a lot of them. So right now I've got 365 enemies in the Acropolis. There's a good chance, oh, I skipped one. There we go. There's a good chance that I could complete a huge portion of this bounty here before I actually ever go to Earth. But let's go ahead and go to Earth and we'll talk about some strategies there. Notice I only have a couple planets here, so good thing I picked this one that's on Earth. I didn't realize that when I started recording. All right, so coming to Gold Watch, here's the way I typically do bounties. If I'm looking at a screen in an area where I know I've got something that I'm hunting, first I'm going to check if anything's yellow to click. If not, I'm going to look and see if there's any chests, and if not, I'll look and see if there's any titans. And I will kill them in that order. So you'll see here I had one pop up, another one pop up. Another one pop up. Why do I do that? Well, I like to get the goodies from chests, and I like to get the drops from Titans. They always give good experience regardless of where they're at. And then if none of those are there, then you can patrol around a little bit. So I'm gonna click through here. Once I'm not seeing any more, I'll click through here a couple times, maybe grab a chest or two. And once you've done that, once you've clicked 5 or 6 times through looking around, you're not seeing anything, it's time to move on to the next area. Now I can bet on getting probably 1 or 2 of these per area is my guess based off of how many I've seen so far. I'm not seeing any here in the depth. Oh, there's one. Now if you do miss it, if you click too fast and it scrolls on by, oh, there's another one. It may or may not show up. All right, so I've got at least 2 in here. I think one of them was a tier 4 and one of them might have been a tier 2. It's worth it to take the time to click through here just to find those. And what you kind of want to do is keep track of how many of these you think you're finding in each area and how many zones you have to search on. So some of your zones that only have 4 areas to look for your beasts and you're getting 3 or 4 per area, you're not going to find all of your creatures you need to finish your bounty in one sweep through the planet. The ones that have a ton of areas like the Moon, Earth, Saturn, frequently you can get through these completely by just going with this method and looking for the creature that you're hunting and by killing it. So I've got a ton of areas left here in Earth. We're gonna just keep scrolling through these. When I get through all of them, if I'm not done, what I will do is switch over back to, Rhino. Don't need him for this hero, I need him for my main. I'm still searching for that elusive Rhino and Lion. I'm not as bad as Shred with a number of rhinos without getting the card, without trapping him. He's about twice what I am right now, but anyway. So what's gonna happen is if it's looking like you can complete the bounty by just scrolling through your zones this way, or crawling through your zones this way, then you're in good shape and that was probably good use of your tracking beacon. If it turns out you're not able to, and what you have to do then is rather than continually searching over and over again for a creature, what you're gonna wanna do is pick a zone, just start battling the top beast in there and clear out the area completely. After a minute, it will refill. And what you're gonna try to do is clear out as many of the mobs as possible so that when it refills back up, you've got a better chance of getting the mob that you're actually looking for. So most zones, especially if you're one-shot killing creatures, and you have a good connection, you can probably keep up with keeping 2 zones cleared out. So here, this Argus Beast, I'm already up to 5 minutes on here. I'd be thinking, oh, this is taking too long. Why'd I pick this one? I don't really care if I fell it with this hero, though. We're mostly here to show the point. Granted, with how much time I have, I could complete this one even if I were to just stay in one zone and clear it out over and over and over again. Anyway, what you'll do, once you go through all the zones, even if it's one with only 4 zones or 5 zones, like if it is on Phobos or something like that, or Mercury, you still want to go and grab all of them that you can in the other zones. And most mobs, you can get anywhere between 1 and 3 of them to respawn per room clear. So if you do the math on that, you figure every minute it's going to refill, and you can get about 3 per minute. If you're keeping up with 2 zones, you could probably get 2 to 8 per minute. And you can look at that in your timer and figure out roughly how long is it going to take you to complete the bounty. So here, if I had 27 more that I needed and I was getting, say 2 per clearing the room, I would know in about 14 or 15 minutes I could complete that bounty just by staying in one room and clearing it over and over and over again. Also, when you know that you were doing it that way, you might want to switch off your bounty hunter bike and switch to something like item magnet if you're trying to get more drops. Sometimes I leave it on anyway, especially if you're in a zone where other people are coming in and battling. You still want to be able to click the mob when it comes up in the list, just so that someone else doesn't randomly take it from you in whatever it is that they're hunting and looking for. Some zones are going to be competitive that way when you have a lot of people farming in them, and so it's in that case I think it's worth it to stay on your bounty hunter bike and continue to click through that way. All right, and as far as which bounties are worth doing in the breakout, I will typically do all of my 30-minute ones and all of my hour ones, and I can usually get those knocked out pretty quickly. It's not always an even break. Sometimes you'll only get one 30-minute one. Sometimes you'll get multiple. The 2-hour ones I'm iffy on. Those ones, regardless of where you're doing them, the exception is ones that are going to be in the underworld. You can sometimes get through those with a 2-hour bounty by sweeping through the areas, but typically you're going to have to stay somewhere and sit and farm for a very, very long time to get that filled up with the 2-hour bounty. So if it's somewhere you really don't want to spend a lot of time farming, I don't usually take the 2-hour bounties. Some zones like Mount Olympus are great because you've only got like 5 different potential mobs there, and so even though there's only a couple of zones, you can usually get those ones completed just through your regular farming while you're there. We're getting closer. We're down to 15 more Argus beasts that we need. Obviously, I'm not worried about missions on this particular hero, or I would be, hey, I need to use an item and see what I get next. Now, your bounties that are tracked are per your hero. It's not tied to your account. So doing a bunch of bounties with other heroes isn't going to increase the number of bounties you have done. And your arena tokens are also tied to your hero. So it will not give you more arena tokens to use with a different hero. All right, with that, we've got just a couple minutes left to finish up this bounty. We're down to 10 kills. I'm gonna come and swing back to Gold's Watch where there's a bunch of people there that may be farming, so we may have something else in here to pick up. Not seeing it. So with this one, I could probably come back to the Acropolis, go to cards, go patrol, and with your more common Earth bounties, like if I was doing a Nymph Black or a Bleak or Scouts, those ones you can kind of even just stay here and do very, very rapidly. I suspect with 375 enemies in here, there's probably more than enough to finish up this bounty. So let's just do that. Come on, refresh. There we go. Sometimes if I'm here, I'll finish off the Acropolis Sentinel just to get a core. I'm not going to use my attacks on this. So I've only 77 attacks, that's not too bad. So if I'm going with this method and not clearing areas, sometimes I can get 3 or 4, maybe even 5 bounties done on a single beacon. All right, there we go. This bounty is complete. It goes away. I can come back to the Acropolis, go to Bounty Tracker, and turn this in. Now, if you forget to turn this in, don't worry. These will hang around until you can collect them. They don't go away. And I'd pick that up. All right, then I could come and pick another bounty to do. It may be that you'll get a bounty that's got multiple, or you'll have multiple bounties on the same planet. So Wolf Leaders, I've got Mars and Consumed. Turian Vandal, I've got on Phobos. Divisive Hobgoblins, the Consumed. So Divisive Hobgoblin and Wolf Leader I could probably both do on Consumed. Turian Knight, Phobos. So Turian Knight and Turian Vandal I could probably do at the same time. Turian Goblin's also on Phobos. So I've got 3 bounties there. What I could do, especially if they're longer, is just pick all 3 of those, then go to Phobos, just stay in one room and just clear over and over and over again. And eventually you'll get all 3 of those bounties completed as well. Phoenix Knights, when it says NA, these are the ones that are on Underworld. I don't have the ship there, but there are a ton of areas on the Underworld so long as you have the location points to unlock all of them. So these ones are usually pretty good, and there's not a huge enemy selection there to pick from. And then these year bounties. All right, if you don't know this trick, I'm going to tell you. There's one reason why we frequently take year-long bounties, and it's not because we intend to do them. What we'll do is we'll take our year-long bounty, we'll go somewhere where we're farming. Say I'm coming to the moon, here's a quiet place. And it happens to conveniently place the top mob right where my attack button is. And then I can not have to worry about moving my mouse or anything else and just sit here and click away to life's content until a lucky day comes up or a public event comes up. And I need to then rotate areas, or if I need to chat and say hi peoples and all of that good information. All right, with that, we're gonna wrap up our video on bounties. Only completed one here, but hopefully I've given you enough tips on knowing how to go through and do those effectively. Again, if you don't have tracking beacons, I wouldn't buy them. You can get them from chests. It just takes a little bit longer to search through the list and manually scan for them otherwise. So plan on giving yourself a couple extra minutes to get those bounties complete if that's the way you're gonna do it. So thanks for watching, appreciate it.